Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of EXTV on the Avenue at Smokey and Bonte's. Today is the third day of the World Cup. We have lots of other footballing things going on, but James, before we get started, we're here. You can come on down, you can join us. James, let the people know about this beautiful establishment.
Well, we're here at Smokey and Bunty's on the Avenue, obviously taking in all the games here. It's obviously, we know that the old bar that was in St James, we're now on the Avenue, full of sports memorabilia, full of sports fans. So come down, enjoy the game with us, or the games with us, and we really look forward to seeing you.
Yes, and we'll have lots of prizes and giveaways. We'll put some, as the show goes along, we'll probably give you all some little hints. There's some questions in the previous videos, check those out. And we're in multiple areas, James. Obviously, we usually are most known for our YouTube channel. Also on the Smokey and Bunty channel, we'll have the information there in our videos. And also on TV stations, James. Tell us about those stations.
Well, we'll be, obviously, we have our friends in Suriname. So check us out if you're in Suriname. And then obviously we have our stations here in Trinidad. We have EXTV. Mm-hmm. And various other ones, obviously countrywide. So obviously we'll post that on the show. You'll get to see that at the sides. And check us out. If you can't do that, check us out on YouTube, or we'll post on the various apps that you can catch us on as well.
Yes, folks. So we are everywhere. So we're going to start things off with a somber note for myself. The first game today, folks, Argentina took on Saudi Arabia, and it ended 2-1 in favor of Saudi Arabia. James, I don't have a lot to say, but we'll kick things off. I'm going to put on my unbiased face now. So I switched from fanboy to analyst now. Yes. So James, let's hear your thoughts on this game.
Well, this was a very, very interesting game. I mean, first of all, we had to get up very early to watch this one, but it was worth every bit of money. And just to see you squirm and see the result, but obviously a 2-1 victory for Saudi Arabia. No one would have predicted it beforehand, and it was won with an absolute peach by Al Dawsari. I mean, a goal worthy of even a final. It was a wonderful strike. I mean, Martinez couldn't have done anything, I think, with the two goals. It was two very good goals, actually.
Correct.
Obviously, Messi got the penalty early on, but I was so impressed the way that Hervé Renard set out his team. He played this old-style counter-attacking football, something I've not seen for years, maybe 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it frustrated Argentina.
Yep.
It frustrated Messi and co. And I have to say, I thought Scaloni didn't come up with any plan how to rectify it, and obviously ended up losing the game because of that. But a lot of credit has to go to Renard and his boys, because not only did they defend well by using the offside trap, they were able to counter and attack with pace and venom, and obviously we saw what happened. They won the game.
Yeah, and there's so many things to talk about. Before we talk about Argentina, their overall performance, the tactics. It's a tactic that's usually scoffed at by a lot of people. It's old school, but the offside trap seemed to work perfectly fine here. And Scaloni looked like he was scratching his head a little bit, how to deal with this. And this is something other teams may be looking at, saying, okay, all right, we're on to something. And it just shows Argentina after that long unbeaten run. And folks, you can comment in the comment section below and let us know how many games did Argentina go before they lost today, being unbeaten, because we'll have prizes and we'll talk about that even more. But moving on to the game itself, or continuing with the game itself, one notable thing, in addition to the things you mentioned, was the performance of the goalkeeper as well. Argentina, from the very beginning, Messi had a chance, and I could always say this, if you score really early in the game, it can set the tone. And he did a really great save against Messi. And then as the game went along, he continued to have some really good saves, even when Argentina tried to step it up a bit. They didn't get the real penetration I thought they would get, which is kudos to Saudi Arabia and their setup. But what do you think as a goalkeeper and a current coach right now about the performance of the goalkeeper himself?
Well, I think the goalkeeper my Arabic's a bit off there, but
forgive us.
But I thought he commanded the area very well. I mean, he made some great saves, but I think the biggest thing to me was the way he was able to organise the players in front of him.
Yeah.
Because his two centre backs were phenomenal. They were huge performances from both of them. I think it was Tambakte had an absolute immense game.
Yeah.
So the fact he was able to lead from the back, I mean, some of the saves to me were orthodox. They were simple. I mean, they were not. I can't think of an outstanding save, but he was solid.
Yeah.
And that's so important for a team to have a solid goalkeeper behind you. That obviously builds confidence, and then they were able to obviously drive forward with that confidence. So I think he had a great game. I think he led from the back. And the interesting thing is, most, if not all, of these players played domestically in Saudi Arabia. And it's a good lesson maybe for Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, we have no league system going on at the moment, but look what they've done in Saudi Arabia. They've put together this wonderful league. They're doing well, and look at the players it's producing.
Yeah. So, this is a perfect example for small nations like us. We're from Trinidad and Tobago, folks, for a wide global audience. People in Suriname, Malaysia, all over the place. UK, wherever I can. We see the analytics, folks. I'm stuttering because I'm, blushing about how, the attention we're getting. But anyway, back to the game. So, Argentina now. So we spoke about Saudi Arabia. Congratulations to them. That's an amazing. I think they gave themselves a public holiday tomorrow for this result. I don't blame them. It's a big result. But Argentina. So obviously heading into this, Argentina has been really strong. And one of the criticisms, if you want to say that, is oftentimes your form leading into the World Cup sometimes means nothing sometimes. It's that those couple of weeks leading into the actual day itself where you have injured players, things are not right. And I mentioned this in one of my my analysis of the team. The absence of Lo Celso, Nicolas Gonzalez, and also Acuna was not functioning at 100%. He didn't start, but you could clearly see if you look at the game, there was a heavy dependence to go on the right side with Di Maria almost all the time. Usually people talk about Messi, but if you look back at the game, they were going there. And to me, it shows that the players that stepped in, which is Enzo Perez, they started with Papu Gomez to play in that position. And James and I spoke about this, and even Stephen John and I from Mundo and Bola Bola. I'll put a link for that video. We were trying to figure out who was going to replace Giovanni Lo Celso. And that midfield trio, Paredes, De Paul, and Giovanni Lo Celso, is absolutely crucial to how Scaloni plays. And now he's not there. And now we're seeing teams, and clearly the Saudi Arabian coach noticed this, capitalize on this, and now moving forward, it's going to be a challenge for Argentina. The pressure is on. And before we jump to the next game, James, another issue I had is that Romero, usually a very solid defender. Argentina is known for their strong defense. They haven't conceded a goal in I think maybe 8 games, I believe. He was clearly not match fit. It showed, and Scaloni immediately took him off. And we could probably discuss it tomorrow as well. And as the tournament goes along, we'll see, where Argentina ends up. So the Argentina have definitely put themselves in a tough position. But I will say this: they were in a tough position in the last World Cup. But I think this time around, I'm not as scared as I was before. However, nothing is guaranteed in football. You have to go out there and play. And Saudi Arabia showed this today. And it's a reminder to all the teams that the playing field is no longer, uneven. Anybody could come.
No, you're right. I mean, I think that the one thing that showed me is the passion, the desire, the fight that Saudi Arabia had. I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, at the end of the day, they were playing against a team that has one of the best players in the world, you know? And for periods of the game, they were able to keep Messi very quiet. I thought they were actually very physical. I mean, and one thing I would say about the tournament so far, the referees are throwing yellow cards like nothing, you know? I mean,
game, yeah.
And I think there was a few challenges that were questionable, but and you're right what you said, for example, about Romero. I think Otamendi had to cover a lot for him, but it's not good enough from Argentina, let's be honest. I mean, Di Maria, he blew hot and cold, he got some really nice balls in there, but I think the problem was they were trying to find Messi at the end because obviously things were not working, and they were looking to their hero, but he was just being marked out of the game for periods of the game. Correct. So it just shows you can't heavily rely on one player. It's a team sport, and it didn't work today, and obviously Scaloni's going to have to go back to the drawing board, come up with something else, and he's got a very difficult game against Mexico on Saturday, and then obviously the game against Poland, so nothing's guaranteed. Yep,
and just to end things off, this shows you one of the things that people were praising Argentina for heading into the World Cup is that this was an Argentina that was no longer dependent on Leo Messi. And the question we'll put to you all and everybody else, and we will see as the tournament goes along, is now that this game didn't go how it was supposed to, are they going to revert back to that, oh goodness, things are not working really well? Or are they going to step up in the next game? And, they're going to have to. This is a very quick and decisive tournament. If you don't get your act together, you're gone. So, we'll see.
Well, I'll tell you something, Andre. I mean, just on that point, I mean, I watched the Mexico game, which we'll talk about in a little while, but Mexico have that fire, that passion as well. So Argentina are going to have to come good.
Yeah.
Because if they do not take something at the next game, they're virtually going home.
Yep, correct, and we'll follow up that discussion when we get to that game. So moving along, but before we move along, just to remind you all, we're here at Smokey and Bunty's down on the Avenue in Trinidad and Tobago for our foreign and international fans. This is the Caribbean, lovely island of Trinidad and Tobago. This is a spot to be if you want to take in your games, have a chat. We have lots of giveaways, and also every week we'll be throwing out some trivia. So make sure to interact with our social media and have answer our questions and so on, because it kind of helps your odds in possibly winning some prizes, some hampers, possibly a FIFA 23, who knows. James, there's also a little thing I want to mention, and there's also a little trip that we keep mentioning. Tell us about that.
Well, we have two flights to Tobago for 2 lucky guests who come down here. We will obviously give that out at the final on the 18th of December, but it's a wonderful prize for 2 to go obviously to our sister island over there. I mean, I keep saying it, I want it, you want it, and I'm sure all the fans out there want it too.
Yes. So, folks, incentives. So, we're going to continue. The other game was, there was a draw between Tunisia and Denmark. James, there's a lot of, story with this Danish team. We all know what happened with Eriksson as well, with his cardiac issues and so on. So it was nice to see him return to the national team. Denmark has traditionally always been a strong team. This is a very strong team. I was legitimately surprised that the game ended up 0-0. James, let me know your thoughts about this particular game.
Well, I think this was a performance of the 2 goalkeepers. I thought Damen in goal for Tunisia was sensational. I thought Kasper Schmeichel had some big saves as well, but obviously it finished 0-0. But it was a very back and forth game, a lot of passion again. And as I say, I have to be honest, every time I see Eriksson playing these days, my heart is literally in my mouth, because we know what happened in the Euros.
It's scary.
But there was lots of big players on show. Højbjerg, he's got from Tottenham. But nobody was able to break the deadlock in this game, and it's funny because I was looking through the Tunisian squad before the game, and Ben Slimane, who this is his 2nd or 3rd World Cup, I think, is a guy that we continually see, and it seems to be players pop up every time at the World Cup. We forget about them maybe a little bit in club football, and then they pop back onto the scene again. But I thought Tunisia had a lot of pace, very, very dangerous again, and there was times of the game that obviously Denmark had their backs against the wall, and it came with, as I say, big saves from Kasper Schmeichel. We know how good his father was. He obviously has showed the world how good he is, but at the end of the day, to me, it was a game for the 2 goalkeepers.
Yes, and I hate to use this overused cliche, but Denmark, as I said at the beginning of this, is a team that is traditionally always very strong. We saw at the last Euros, a lot of people were saying if it wasn't for some certain officiating, James and I spoke about it, it possibly would have been Denmark instead of England in the final. And who knows how that would have gone. But that's football for you. That's why the interpretations of the game is very different. We can look at the same game and come up with different conclusions. But Denmark, definitely are a team that I think they stated, and I'm paraphrasing here, that if they don't get out of the group stage, which is a powerful statement, that they would be considered an absolute failure. It just shows you the intention of this team. James, based on his first game, I know it's a draw, but it's just 3 games. What do you think about Denmark's chances of progressing out of this group, and also overall their performance, maybe going really far in this tournament?
Well, I think Denmark were a team that, when we discussed it beforehand, were a team that we thought were kind of an underdog. They've got young Kasper Dolberg there. Well, he was in the Euros, did very well. We hope that he will obviously burst back on the scene in the next game, but I think I expected maybe a bit too much from them. The one thing to remember, the opening game, it's like a chess match. Nobody wants to lose. They want to get a point at least on the board, and both teams did that today. And I think both teams have, I would say probably Denmark have the stronger squad, let's be honest. They have players obviously playing in the Premier League, players playing in Italy. So whereas obviously the Tunisian team, I think some of them play in the Championship, for example, so not in the Premier League, Some of them play in France. So there is a slight difference on paper and class, but at the end of the day, a draw is a draw, and it's a point for both teams, and it's something for them both to build on.
Yes. So, this is an interesting game. There's another draw we'll talk about coming up, but we'll see how it goes. And folks, as you can tell, there's a lot of activity, a lot of cars going on. I don't know if our mics are, blocking out all the noise, but come on down. Check us down here. We'll be having lots of football discussions. I know, it's the weekday for some people, so it's difficult to run away from your job, but we won't say anything if you come down. It'll be our secret, and the rest of everybody who's watching. It'll be our little secret. So come on down, have some discussions. James and I will be here. Also, a couple other football and sporting personalities will be here. We can have some chat. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, the restrictions are down, so I do encourage you all to practice, good hygienic, practices, because the pandemic, even though it's essentially gone and the restrictions are down, we'd still encourage you to be safe, sanitize, wear your masks if it makes you feel comfortable. COVID is still around, I know people are vaccinated and things like that, and there's also products that can help us folks. And James, could you tell us a little bit about the biotech product?
Well, we're talking about Biotech Plus, which is one of our products. We are obviously helping us with the show, and Biotech Plus is internationally certified for all clinical disinfectation, sterilisation, for all infectious diseases, control and surgical instruments. And we know, everybody knows our biotech here. We have it right here. So if you don't have, make sure you get some because it'll keep you safe and not sorry.
Yes, yes. And biotech, folks, does not help with the virus of bandwagon fans. That's something that cannot be solved with biotech. So folks, it's a beautiful product. You can use it everywhere. We'll put some links in the description below where you can get some more information about it. We use it all the time, even on our equipment everywhere, just to be safe. So we encourage that. So James, moving along. So it's a third game, another draw. Mexico L3 took on Poland. It was a 0-0 draw, which is surprising. There was a lot of moments which, once again, your goalkeeping expertise will come in handy here. The key moment for me that everybody's talking about is trending all over. It's that penalty save, from Lewandowski by, the great Ochoa, who always seems to really step it up for the World Cup, James. So let's talk about that. It's a 0-0 draw. What do you think about that particular penalty save?
Well, we know this man steps up every single World Cup.
Yeah.
Ochoa, he came up big again. I mean, Lewandowski stepping up. Obviously, everybody would have expected him to put it away, and Ochoa dives down and pulls it out the corner, and it's a wonderful save. I mean, I always say that a penalty is a real a 50-50 chance for a goalkeeper. It's always more in favour probably of the attacking player, in my opinion. But Ochoa seems to keep pulling it out every single World Cup, and he did it again this time. So he'll be delighted, and obviously he's got his team a point. And I think, Mexico probably all in all to me showed a little more flair. Probably should have got something out of the game, but obviously both teams will be very happy. Poland, I think to me they didn't do enough. They seemed to sit in it periods of the game, and but as I say, Ochoa was fantastic, and he had a few other saves in the game too. It wasn't just the penalty, but he will be delighted for his team, and again, it gives him that chance to fight another day.
Yes, yes, and what you mentioned, the style of play. Mexico is coached by Tata Martino, former Argentina coach, which increases the plot for the next game. We'll talk about that in a few seconds. Tata Martino likes to play that pressing football. He's a student of Bielsa, for those of you who know. They have that style of play. They usually do pretty well. Somehow Martino is one of those coaches that gets to finals and so on and usually chokes. And then also, Mexico is a different team during the World Cup. Anybody who's looked at World Cups throughout their lifetime will know they may struggle during qualifiers and so on, but usually they step it up a gear. That's why people respect them so much. And the style of play that they have used today, I could even use the cliche that we used in the last game. Mexico probably would have felt that it was probably 2 points lost rather than a draw. And that's something that makes this group very interesting now. But before we get to that, we really want to address, Mexico looks very exciting. The one thing that has really hampered them for a long time, they tried it with Funes Mori and those guys. Their finishing seems to hurt them. It's hurt them in the Gold Cup as well. So they're missing that Jared Borghetti type striker from back in the day. They're missing that guy, that just finished those chances, because they really do dominate. And kudos to Ochoa as well. And Poland must be scratching their heads thinking, wow, Lewandowski, we have our guy usually. But it happens, James. I've seen many great strikers, Messi included himself, step up to the penalty spot because it's difficult now. These guys have so much stats on the players where they could have, it's a flip of a coin, but there's so much information now for goalkeepers. So, this draw, Jay, makes this group very interesting because with this, both teams have 1 point, and then Mexico take on Argentina next. And what is interesting about this is that it's essentially already a must-win game for almost all the teams, especially Argentina, who have, they have title aspirations. And also Tata Martino being one of the more recent coaches for Argentina, he has intimate knowledge of some of the players because it's a brand new team with the exception of Otamendi and Di Maria. So, basically, just to tap on that, we wouldn't go into much into that. But what do you think this draw and its implications for this group and Argentina in the upcoming matches?
Well, I think it's a great result for Argentina because I think if obviously Mexico had to come and win the game, it would have put a lot of pressure on Argentina. But it leaves it very much open now, Yeah. So that game on Saturday is massive, like I say. Do I think Mexico have enough to take Argentina apart? I'm not too sure. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a very free-flowing game, lots of attacking pace, which is great for the game. But we will see.
Yeah, we will see, folks, because nothing is guaranteed in this game. Mexico always does really well. If you look back at the track record, anytime Mexico played Argentina, it's always a very tight game. And long gone of the days of favorites. I've always said at the beginning of the tournament, there are really no clear favorites. Of course, as the tournament goes along, the top form teams usually rise. So, folks, let us know what you think in the comment section below. How do you think this group is going to play out? It's just as dramatic as the last World Cup. And it could easily go where, it's possible that, Argentina could go on or could go out. We don't know yet. I think we'll start to get a great idea when we see the games, when they play off on Saturday. So, that's a very interesting thing. So, James, we're going to head on to the last game of the day. France, the current World Cup champions, took on Australia. It started off with a little bit of a scare. Australia scored first. But, James, what do you think about this game? France eventually won 4-1. Goals from Rabiot, Mbappe, and Giroud, who is a player that people constantly downplay, which I don't understand. AC Milan fans will agree with me. Maybe Chelsea fans might disagree, but he does the job for France. And the last World Cup, if I remember correctly, and James, you could tell me this, I think he didn't score any goals, but he was crucial with his contributions this time around. And I think going to Syria has really kind of got him back in the groove. He scored some great goals. What do you think about the performance of France today?
I thought France were very, very good. As I say, they started a little sluggish. Obviously, the goal that I think it was Goodwin scored for Australia. Wonderful, wonderful goal. I think it's Mu, the player that plays for Celtic. He's fantastic at switching the ball. He switched it across to the right. A nice ball in and a wonderful finish from Goodwin. I think it raised a few red flags, obviously, on the back line for France. But don't take anything away. It was a great finish. But then France really turned it up a gear, and especially in the second half. I thought Mbappe at the end was phenomenal. He really, really came to the show today. Obviously, certain players at other teams, we won't say who they were. They scored a penalty, but maybe they didn't show up as well. But Mbappe was good. I think Giroud was fantastic. I would have loved to have seen that overhead kick flying.
Oh yeah.
But I really think it was a polished performance from France in the end. I don't think the first half was as great as they would have wanted, but they really stepped it up. And a 4-1 victory really shows their intentions going forward. It's going to show in the rest of the pack, we are here to do some damage.
Yes.
So stand up and watch.
Yes. France definitely made a statement with this result. And to be fair to Australia, with all things considered, they did keep things pretty level close, I should say, for a long period of time. France created a lot of chances, they weren't scoring. And at one point, it looked like Australia was going to at least tie the game for a little while. They hit the post, I think. I can't remember who did the header as well. But eventually, the quality of France came through. And, defensively, Australia found, they were found wanting a couple times. And I think eventually, the quality of France was always going to creep through. Now, sometimes, quality doesn't always guarantee a victory. But France made a statement. Folks, let us know what you think. Some teams, usually the World Cup curse is that the team that won the last World Cup, usually they don't do it. But definitely, this French team has what it takes to go really far in this tournament. And James, to just kind of end things off in this group, do you think that France will top this group? And do you think that they will at least get to the final this time around?
Well, I think they will. But you can't. You've got to look at the first game and say, they were coming out guns blazing. I do have a little concern in the center midfield there. They lost obviously Kante, Pogba. They did well today, but I think they do still rely heavily on Mbappe driving them forward. And he seemed to be popping up all over the place. So we'll see what happens there. But I think they'll have enough to take that group. But we'll see what happens in the second game, as simple as that. But I think today is them showing, puffing out their chest a little and saying, yep, we're here.
We're back. The champions are back. That's what they're saying. So, folks, let us know what you think in the comment section below. France, Les Bleus look like the real deal. They had a lot of absentees. Benzema, we spoke about that in the last video. No Pogba. A lot of players that, but they still have a pretty strong squad. And yes, they may have some defensive gaps, but I think that's kind of the nature of football right now. I think long gone are the days of really super tight defenders at those top level teams. From what I'm seeing, it's a trend where, like in the last World Cup, France was kind of like playing counter-attacking style of football. But there are gaps.
But I think, Andre, one thing I would say is one thing that played very favourably into France's hands was Australia played a 4-1-4-1 and they played very, very narrow, which opened up pockets, obviously, out wide for Mbappe.
Yes.
I didn't think Griezmann had the best of games, to be honest, but it did open that opportunity for him to then obviously cause problems. So I think it's something Australia have to look at. You know, yes, they want to be compact and narrow, but they don't want to give space either. You know.
Yeah.
So obviously, as I say, it helped France out. It helped him get the result, and maybe against a stronger opposition, they may not get that space.
Yes. So that's the thing. The form in the group stage could easily be different. I've seen it many times before where teams start off really well and then they fizzle out. Some teams start poorly and then they grow as the tournament goes along. And that's why we love the World Cup. We don't know what's going to happen next. Nothing is certain, folks. Nothing is certain. So let us know what you think in the comment sections on the various social media, the Smokey and Bunty Facebook page, Instagram. Follow us on
Take 2.
So take 2, folks. So as I was saying, follow us on social media, Smokey and Bunty on Instagram, Facebook, and so on. And then, comment in the comment section below on our YouTube channel. And also, James, just a reminder for the fans out there, we're also on, some television networks. Tell us about those networks, folks.
So we're obviously on our network in Suriname, which is QNM. We're obviously on EXTV here in Trinidad and Tobago. And obviously we have our YouTube channel here as well. So catch us on any of them. We will post up the channel numbers so you can catch them and catch us. And but other thing to bring up, Andre, there's a lot of these players getting injuries, and one thing that prevents you from getting an injury is a good pair of shin guards.
Correct.
And our good friends at Armour Flex in the UK are giving us 6 pairs of shin guards to give to 6 lucky fans. So that's another prize. So we will throw that out to you. If you want to win that, make sure you come down to the final on the 18th, and you'll get a chance to win one of those.
Yes, folks. Listen, incentives. I've said it a million times. We get a lot of reasons. So much giveaways. But there's one topic, news just in, folks, that you mentioned. This is out of the World Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo once again pops up in our news. We'll just touch on this before we run out of time. It seems as if, I can't remember the exact message, but Manchester United basically posted that they've officially ended the relationship with him and the club. What do you think about that?
I saw it coming. I mean, I don't want to say I read minds, but we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
We saw it coming from both sides. I mean, I think, as I say, there's no coincidences in football. The fact it came before Portugal's game as well is no coincidence.
Yep.
And we will see where he goes. We said yesterday where we have an idea where he might end up to help his good old friend over there, but we'll let you all think about that one. But it's the right time to get it over and done with so the players can focus on the World Cup.
Yes. So folks, let us know what you think about that as well. We'll continue our daily wrap-ups of things football, including the World Cup as well. Come down, as we said, to Smokey and Bunty. This is where we'll be. Hang out, have some football talks, have some drinks. What else, James?
And the other thing to remember, we have obviously 4 more big games tomorrow again. Obviously at 6 a.m. we have Morocco and Croatia. Croatia obviously last time around's finalists.
Yes.
We'll have to see if Modric can bring his troops and win that game. Then we have Germany and Japan. Obviously there's a lot of Germany fans out there, especially here in Trinidad and Tobago. So that one will be at 9 a.m. And then we have the 2 games in the afternoon, which is Spain, Costa Rica, a big, fiery Spanish affair.
Yes.
And the last game of the day will be Belgium, Canada.
Correct.
And that's one I think I'm very excited for. I think it's a very exciting Canadian team. We know Belgium have been promising, and I think this is probably the last time around for some of these players again. Can't wait to see it as well.
Yeah, the sunset of the golden generation for Belgium, I think. And for CONCACAF, Canada is a very strong team. So lots of games, folks. So come on down. This is where we'll be. Come and have a chat with us. Come and have a drink. Look at our videos. We'll have our daily wrap-ups. And once again, folks, James and I are going to get some rest and get ready to do this, folks, because this World Cup is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And James and I are reasonably fit, I guess. I don't know. So once again, folks, thank you for joining us and continue to join us, and we appreciate greatly your support. We've been seeing it in all the various forums and social media areas and messages directly to us. Continue to support us, and we will continue to bring this game to you all from the greatest show on earth.